Happy Prince. High above a bustling city, on a tall marble pillar, stood the golden statue of the Happy Prince. His body was covered entirely in thin leaves of fine gold. Bright sapphires gleamed from his eyes, and a large ruby shone brilliantly from his sword hilt. The people admired him endlessly. "Isn't he beautiful?" murmured those who passed beneath. "Just look at him, such perfection." But the Happy Prince was not happy. From his high pedestal, he saw clearly the poverty and suffering hidden from the eyes of those below. He watched every sadness and misery, his heart heavy with sorrow. One crisp autumn night, a small swallow flying south to Egypt paused to rest at the statue's feet. "This looks like a good place to spend the night," he thought, settling comfortably. Just as he was about to close his eyes, a drop of water fell upon him. Surprised, the swallow glanced upwards. There were no clouds, and the stars were bright. Another drop fell, then another. "This statue is useless for shelter," complained the swallow. But as he prepared to fly away, he looked up again. He saw tears streaming from the Happy Prince's eyes. "Why are you crying?" asked the swallow gently, for he had a kind heart. "When I was alive and my heart was human," began the statue softly, "I knew nothing of tears. I lived in a palace of happiness and pleasure, untouched by sadness. But now, from my pedestal, I see every misery in my city. It breaks my heart." The swallow listened carefully, moved by the prince's sadness. "What do you see?" he asked quietly. "Far away in a narrow street there's a tiny house," said the prince sadly. "Through an open window I see a woman sewing late into the night. Her face is thin and weary. Her little boy lies sick, feverish in his bed. They have no money, no food." "Oh, how terrible," whispered the swallow. "Swallow, little swallow," pleaded the prince softly. "Would you take the ruby from my sword and give it to her? It could save the child's life." The swallow hesitated. "But I must go to Egypt. The other swallows are waiting for me." "Just for one night, little friend," said the prince, his voice full of kindness. The swallow sighed, moved by the prince's compassion. "Very well," he agreed. The swallow carefully plucked the ruby from the sword and flew swiftly through the city. He slipped silently into the little room, placing the precious stone near the woman's sewing. She raised her tired eyes and saw the ruby shining beautifully beside her. Tears of relief filled her eyes as she held her sleeping child close. Returning to the statue, the swallow felt strangely warmed by his act of kindness. "It is odd," he thought, "but I feel quite happy." "You have done a good deed," said the prince gratefully. The next day the swallow prepared to leave, but the prince spoke again. "Swallow, dear swallow, stay one more night. There is a young man in an attic struggling to finish a play. He is cold and hungry. Take one of my sapphire eyes and bring it to him." "But your eyes, prince," cried the swallow in alarm. "Do not worry," said the prince gently. "Helping him matters far more." So the swallow took one sapphire eye and flew to the attic. Quietly, he left the gem beside the young writer. The playwright stared in wonder at the beautiful stone. With renewed hope, he felt strength return to him. Each night the swallow stayed a little longer. The happy prince asked him to remove his second sapphire eye to help a poor little match girl who had lost her matches and feared punishment. The swallow faithfully obeyed, bringing warmth and hope wherever he went. But now the prince was blind, his eyes empty and dull. "I cannot leave you now," said the swallow gently. "I will stay with you always." From then on, the swallow became the prince's eyes, telling him about the beauty of the world. The prince listened, his heart warmed despite his blindness. As winter approached, the city grew colder. The swallow became weak and frail, shivering beside the prince. "Goodbye, dear prince," he whispered one evening. "Will you let me kiss your hand?" "I am glad you are going to Egypt at last," said the prince softly, though his heart ached deeply. "You must be warm and safe." "I am not going to Egypt," whispered the swallow weakly. "I am going to the house of death. It is time." He kissed the prince's golden cheek and fell softly to the ground. At that moment, a strange cracking sound echoed through the cold air. The prince's leaden heart had broken. The next morning, city officials saw the dull statue without gems and the dead bird at its feet. "How ugly the happy prince has become," they said, disgusted. "He is no longer beautiful or useful." The statue was torn down, melted in a furnace, but the prince's broken heart refused to melt. It was thrown into the dust heap where the swallow's body lay. In heaven, God asked an angel, "Bring me the two most precious things from the city." The angel returned with the leaden heart and the lifeless swallow. "You have chosen wisely," said God. "In my garden the swallow will sing forever, and the happy prince will praise the beauty and kindness of true friendship." From that day on, whenever the stars glittered brightly, the people of the city felt warmth in their hearts, remembering the kindness of the happy prince and the gentle swallow who had given everything for love.